Have you ever felt like someone was taken from you too soon? That this separation made no sense? That it came at the worst possible time? What if I told you that sometimes it's not the end? That sometimes Allah separates you temporarily, not to destroy that bond, but to strengthen it in ways you could never imagine. There are signs, subtle but powerful, that this separation is only a chapter, not the whole story. Stay until the end. Because what you're about to discover today could change the way you see what you're going through right now. 1. When separation brings your heart. Closer to Allah, there are wounds that no human words can heal. Absences that become heavier than presence itself. And yet, in this distance, sometimes something sacred happens. Your heart, instead of being lost in nostalgia for a person, begins to seek higher, greater, purer. When this separation has led you to rest your forehead more often on the ground, when it has brought tears to your eyes that you had never shed even in the happiest moments, it is a sign. A sign that the apparent loss is actually a profound reminder. Allah is calling you to Himself. Sometimes we cling to a creature with such intensity that our connection with the Creator is weakened. Then, in His Rahmah, in His infinite mercy, Allah separates what becomes a veil between Him and you, not out of anger, not out of rejection, but out of love. A love so pure that sometimes we only understand it through pain. Do you feel this emptiness in your chest? This emptiness is not abandonment. It's an invitation. An invitation to fill this space with a light that no one but Him can offer you. Every prayer you now pronounce with greater presence, every sigh you transform into an invocation, every solitude you experience with your Lord, is proof that this separation was not an end, but an awakening. Allah never separates without reason. When He separates, it is to offer you a closeness you may have forgotten, a closeness that depends on no other soul, no external circumstance, but only on your secret connection with Him, the one who hears what your heart dares not even say. Sometimes, Allah closes the doors of the world so that you may finally open to the gate of heaven. And what He offers you through this ordeal far exceeds what you could have obtained by desperately clinging to what was meant to be momentarily taken away. If today, in this separation, your heart finds more rest in supplication, if your eyes turn more naturally to heaven than to memories, then know that you are on a blessed path. A path where Allah purifies your attachment, not to impoverish you, but to re-enrich you with His presence. Do not minimize this inner transformation, for sometimes the greatest gift is not in recovering what you have lost, but in finding the one you had lost deep within. There are separations that are calls from Allah, silent calls, but powerful ones. Calls that awaken the sleeping soul, that remind us that true dependence is not on any creature, but on the one who never betrays. And if you feel this, then you are not losing. You are being lifted up. 2. When, despite the distance, your heart remains at peace. When a separation occurs, the natural human reflex is agitation. The heart races, thoughts race, doubts arise. Why now? Why like this? And yet, sometimes, in the midst of this tumult, your heart remains strangely calm, silent, almost confident, if, despite the distance, despite the absence of explanations or guarantees, you feel a profound peace. Understand. You are not the one controlling this. It is Allah who stabilizes you internally. And this kind of peace does not come from the outside world. It comes from heaven, because natural separation generates panic. But a separation orchestrated by Allah leaves a different mark on the soul, a certainty that everything is in His hands. The calm you feel is not trivial. It's a powerful sign that this separation is not a definitive end. It is Allah who is telling you without words, "Be still. I have already written everything for you." When Allah truly wants to take something from your life, He lets your heart feel the weight, the loss, the instability. But when He knows it's only a temporary separation, He envelops your heart in peace, as if to say, "Don't be agitated. What is meant for you will return, with my permission, at the perfect time." Inner peace is a gift, a privilege, a proof that your heart is connected to the divine decree, not to the appearances of the moment. Think about this. If it were truly over, your heart would be in a state of unbearable distress. You would feel anguish, brokenness, despair. But if, despite everything that seems wrong on the outside, your inner being remains calm, then know that you are being carried, protected, guided. Allah knows what He is doing. He knows what He is holding back. He knows what He is secretly preparing for you. Distance does not erase anything that Allah has forged spiritually. A bond formed under His permission is not severed simply because circumstances become difficult. On the contrary, often, physical distance serves to strengthen this invisible bond, to purify it, to prepare it to carry greater weight and blessings tomorrow. So, if today you feel this peace, do not doubt, do not panic, do not question your spiritual instinct. Accept this calm as a silent response from the Most High. Allah soothes the hearts He has chosen for greater missions. And sometimes, distance isn't a punishment, but a silent preparation, so that when the time comes, you'll be ready to welcome what He has written for you without fear, without doubt, without old wounds. This calm is not ordinary. It's proof that your story isn't over, only suspended while Allah completes His perfect work. 3. When separation teaches you what you couldn't see before. There are truths we cannot see while we are too closely attached to a situation. Like a painting whose details only appear when we step back, Allah, in His wisdom, sometimes creates a distance to illuminate what you refused to see. If this separation has ignited thoughts in you that you had never considered before, if, suddenly, aspects of yourself, your impatience, your need for control, your discreet pride, become visible to you, then know that you are in the hands of a teacher who never abandons his students. Allah never separates to blindly punish. He separates to deeply correct. Sometimes two souls, even sincere in their affection, become obstacles to one another without realizing it. Not because they are bad, but because they are still unfinished, immature, clinging to illusions of love that, instead of elevating us to Allah, gently pull us toward earthly attachments. In His Rahmah, Allah then distances us, not to break but to build, not to destroy but to refine. Perhaps you have discovered in this imposed solitude old wounds that you projected onto the other. Perhaps you have understood that you expected from this relationship a completeness that only Allah can offer. Or perhaps you have seen that you were demanding what you yourself were not yet ready to give. Every awakening is a proof of divine love. Every painful truth brought to light is a hidden mercy. Allah does not leave you to wander aimlessly. When He shows you your own flaws, it's not to destroy you with shame. It's to offer you the opportunity to rebuild yourself on a more solid, more authentic foundation, more oriented toward Him. For how can you truly love someone for the sake of Allah if you've never learned to love yourself properly through Allah? How can you build a blessed bond if you haven't healed the invisible cracks that weaken everything you touch? Separation, in this case, is like a sacred pause, a silent workshop in which Allah works on your soul, in secret, out of sight. If you feel that this distance has opened your eyes to areas where you need to improve, don't see it as divine rebuke. See it as a heavenly investment. Allah educates you because He wants to give you better things. Because He wants that, when the time of return or reunion comes, you be ready to love in a way that doesn't burden the soul, but uplifts it. Every inner progress you make today builds the spiritual edifice that will support a healthier, more beautiful relationship tomorrow, more in line with what Allah wants for you. So, never disregard the lessons of this separation. They are the hidden price of the blessing you secretly seek. 4. When signs of return appear without force, there are reunions that no human plan could have designed, paths that cross again, without noise, without maneuvering, without struggle. And when this happens, it is often the most tender sign that Allah had never separated you to abandon you. The final sign, and perhaps the sweetest, is when life itself begins to build bridges that you yourself had ceased to imagine. Unexpected reunions, greetings from souls you thought were forever estranged, coincidences so precise that they can only be marks of Allah's hand. When Allah wants to reunite, He makes things easy. Not in haste, not in obsession, but in peace. Without needing to force things, without manipulating, without begging, you see that everything seems to fall back into place, gently, subtly, naturally, as if life were returning to a course that your heart immediately recognizes, without needing to explain anything. This is the mark of Allah in reunions, fluid simplicity, the absence of heaviness, the feeling of walking on a path already prepared long ago, when doors open quietly, when hearts meet without conflict, when souls reconnect without burden. Then know that it is Allah who offers you a second chance, not because you have earned it through your efforts, but because He loves you with a love that you yourself do not yet fully understand. Allah is the master of time. He knows when your heart is ready. He knows when the other heart is ready. And He orchestrates this reunion with a perfection that nothing and no one can imitate. Make no mistake, the return orchestrated by Allah never resembles a painful obsession, nor human forcing. It is light, it is gentle, it is obvious. Like rain that falls without your asking for it, but arrives at the exact moment when the earth of your heart needed it most. These discreet signs, a message at the right time, an unexpected encounter, a new opportunity offered without rancor, are all divine winks. Reminders that the separation was not a condemnation, but a sacred detour, intended to purify, to heal, to solidify what was to return in a better light. When Allah facilitates, it is because He validates. When Allah brings together, it is because He blesses. And you, all that's left for you to do is receive this return with gratitude, with maturity, and above all with the awareness that all this is not the result of chance, but the fruit of patience blessed by the one who holds the keys to all hearts. Your heart needs to believe that not every distance is a punishment, that what Allah temporarily removes, He can make more beautiful than before. If this message has touched your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might also need this reminder today. Like this video to support this message. Subscribe to receive even more reminders that nourish your heart. And tell me in the comments, have you recognized any of these signs in your own life? I'm listening. And above all, I pray that your patience opens the most beautiful doors for you, bi'idhnillah.